Aaron Rodgers, 2-year stint with the Jets that he'll never want to remember. When he goes into the Hall of Fame, he'll just say, please don't mention that. Now he's with Pittsburgh, and he had his best game since Green Bay. Threw 5 touchdowns. Is it 5, right? Am I right about that, Sam? I don't want to screw this up, too. 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, screwed up again. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers will finish the season as a QB1 in a 12-team league, top 12 fantasy quarterback. Buy or sell.
You know, the cop-out here is he stays healthy at Jets, right? He'll do it. They're not asking a lot, top 12. Purdy's already not going to be top 12, right? He's already going to miss this week, probably another week, maybe as much as 5, they've said. So you knock him out there. There'll be other quarterbacks that get hurt, so you knock them out. I don't think he'd ever get top 5, top 6, top 8. But the 9 to 12, I hate to say it, he wasn't bad last year with the Jets, right? They didn't win games, but he wasn't bad. He had it when he played. He was a good, solid quarterback. You know, he can still sling it. He still can. I'm the first to admit those 4 touchdowns. It wasn't like he had a monster game. A couple of his interceptions were dropped. You know, that should have been picked off there. It seems like passes he did complete were for touchdowns. A couple of breakdowns by the Jets as well. So I don't see him really as going to win a league for you. But I'm going to buy this. If he stays healthy, hell, just give me 15 games. And I think he could be top 12. So I'll buy this.
I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I mean, games against the Browns and games against the Ravens. And look, I don't know if the Jets defense is as bad as they've showed. If it is, then this may be his best game of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I think he's on the outside of this looking in.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Yes, it's time to rise and grind on a glorious Football Friday right here on the SportsGrid Network. This is the early line. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri, and you know the drill. We got 2 hours to get you set not only for today, but this weekend's monster action, and also go back to what happened last night so we can use that information to apply it forward and handicap and make some money. I'm ready to go today, Joe. The energy is high. The internet is fantastic, and away we go.
Donnie, I got to tell you, I mean, I hope people appreciate how great a day today is in the sports betting world. Ryder Cup action, Major League Baseball, a great college football slate here, getting us ready for what's going to be a epic weekend here across the board. I am all for it, man.
I love it here. And you know what else I love more? The buy segment yesterday produced another 2-0 night. Joe Ranieri saying, you know what? Those Seattle Seahawks, they're going to win their football game. And they did at the gun. And also, your boy Donnie Rightside said, hey, Kyler, he's good enough for 27.5 rushing yards. He ended up with 40-plus rushing yards there. Cash it in 2-0, which means the energy is high. And here's Caffeinated Joe.
All right, Donnie, I'm excited here because today's lesson, I think, is a simple one, and it's one that costs the betting public a ton of money throughout the year. And it's this simple, Donnie, right? If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's just a damn duck. And what that in betting terms means, don't get cute, don't overthink it. Sometimes the obvious play is the right play. And last night's Seahawks-Cardinal game was the perfect example of this. We told you here on the show yesterday, look at the facts. We have got a Seahawks team that has owned the Cardinals, going 7-0 against them since 2022. We got Kyler Murray 2-8 in his career against them. We told you that Seattle has been absolutely, ATM cash cow on the road with McDonald as the head coach. Seattle's pass rush, great. Arizona's offensive line, banged up. Arizona missing its starting running back. They were the duck last night. Everything, and I mean everything, pointed to a Seattle win. But what happened, Donnie, all week long? What happened yesterday? If you peruse on social media, right? People started getting cute. Oh, the public's all over Seattle. It's a short week. Sam Darnold stinks. He's not good. The whole world is on Seattle. I got to fade them and go the other. Yeah, well, you started betting the Cardinals, not because you thought they were the better team, but simply because other people were betting them too much. And what happens? Well, for 3.5 quarters, the Seahawks dominated. 6 sacks. Kyler Murray looked frustrated. Marvin Harrison can't hold on to the ball. And here we go again. Yeah, it got weird and chaotic at the end because kicking is for losers, Donnie. But the duck was still the duck. The Seahawks won the game. The team with the historical and schematic advantages won. The lesson is simple. Trust your handicap. Trust your gut. Don't get caught up in chasing steam or trying to be the smartest guy in the room. Sometimes the most obvious bet on the board is the right one. Don't overthink it. Just bet the damn duck, Donnie.
Keep it simple, stupid. Very simple formula that would put money in your pocket. By the way, how about the total in that game listed at 43.5? Final score, 23-20. Right on the edge of that. And all on Friday morning, we like to kick things off here with the early lineup, which included last night's Thursday Night Football tilt in the NFC West, which saw 23-20 final. The Seattle Seahawks with a victory over the Cardinals. Shouldn't have to been that much of a sweat, but a nice fourth quarter comeback for the Cardinals. But special teams plays a big deal in this, Joe. Bad kickoff led to a ball placed on the 40-yard line. A few plays later, a long field goal for the Seahawks. They come away with the victory and a 3-1 advantage now on the season compared to the Arizona Cardinals 2-2.
Yeah, that's another lesson, right? Kicking is for losers because kickers yesterday almost just absolutely botched that game. First and foremost, Myers there missing the 53-yarder to put the game away. And then, of course, having some redemption thanks to the other kicker not being able to kick. I don't think a lot of people understand that that's a penalty. Like if you don't kick it between the goal line and the 20, you're giving the team the ball like you kicked it out of bounds. So lesson learned last night. Don't rely on kickers, but there is no doubt who the better team was for that game.
As a Jets fan, you got to be excited by this. Justin Fields returns back to the practice field fresh off a game. He completed 3 passes. I don't think it matters if he plays or doesn't play against the Dolphins, but the Jets trying to get their quarterback on the field again.
Yeah, enough said there, Donnie. Doesn't matter if he plays or doesn't play. Part of me doesn't want him playing. Give me Tyrod Taylor. At least he can push the ball down the field.
By the way, you hear that big exhale from this Motor City in Detroit here? They won a baseball game, and it was against the Guardians. Is there life back in the building in Detroit?
Well, you just got to get that one win, Donnie, right? We'll see if they can parlay that into something here moving forward. But the damage has already been done. You brought everybody else into the fold here. So it's not like the pressure is going to get any less because they won one game, Donnie.
Your MVP of the National League, Shohei Ohtani, smashed his 54th home run yesterday in a give-up game for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hey, let's throw the bullpen out there. Yeah, congratulations, Dodgers. 8-0 victory, and also champions now of the NL West.
Yeah, poor Arizona. Well, you gave it a shot there, Arizona. You really did. You had the Mets win, you had the Reds win, and Arizona can't even score a run. But Ohtani, absolutely your MVP, and proved it again as to why.
And welcome back, NBA, with the normal circumstances of, LeBron James, how long are you going to play it for? I don't know. We've been asking this guy for a decade. His future is always up in the air. And you take a look at this tweet here. The Lakers reportedly weren't interested in extending LeBron James this summer, forcing him to pick up his player option. Trouble in Tinseltown.
Oh, please. Listen, we all know LeBron is going to play as long as LeBron wants. The Lakers are not going to run interference here. It's just a matter of LeBron. I mean, sometimes you hate to see it, though, Donnie, right? Guys that maybe you should have retired a year earlier instead of a year late, right?
Still getting that money out there. Luka Doncic, now the big star out in Los Angeles. The Lakers saying like, yeah, you're getting up there in age. We don't know how much we can pay you into it. So pick up your player option and we'll decide what happens at a later time. How about Jared McCain of the Philadelphia 76ers? Sixers are like the 49ers. Whenever you play for them, you just get injured. A UCL injury, which could set him back weeks here to start the season. Not a good look for the 76ers looking to rebound from that disaster that was last year.
And it was funny because last year, I believe he was one of the early favorites for NBA Rookie of the Year. And then he gets that, and he hurts himself there with the meniscus tear. And, well, here we go again. Unbelievable with this kid.
By the way, I wish we had the picture that was up yesterday where the Sixers put out that, Allen Iverson throwback uniform where he was sitting on a weight bench, Joe. Did you see that photo, by the way? Did you see the one where he was on the weight bench or no?
I did not, no.
Yeah, if we could somehow get that, maybe throughout the show, just pop that up in your ear. He was actually on the weight bench, Joe. There must have been 3.5 pounds of weight on the bar here. That was the joke going around Twitter. How did he hurt himself on his thumb by lifting 3-pound dumbbells, Joe?
Yeah, it's gripping it a little hard there, Donnie, apparently, and that was it. Ruptured his thumb. You can't make this up. You really can't.
Grip it and rip it, Joe. What's that associated with? That's golf, baby. The Ryder Cup officially underway. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Nation versus nation. Continent versus continent, Joe. We're excited for this one.
And they're on the tee right now, Donnie. Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas against Rahm and Hatton. Let the games begin, my friend.
I can't wait to watch this play out, too, because you understand that the Europeans are very good at the team competitions, and USA is very good as an individualized sport here in golf, as on Sunday, it will be decided. Team USA is a favorite. Home course advantage, something to certainly watch out for, but they're officially underway today. We'll see if all that pressure lines up, Joe. How about it one last time for you? Who wins this thing?
USA. Home field, home course has been dominant in the Ryder Cup over the last decade. If it ain't broke, Donnie, don't fix it.
Hit the ball, Sergio. That's what the screams will be there at Bethpage Black as we go away. And this is a Football Friday. This is the Sports Grid Network. This is the early line. Spreadlines on the way. Get that knowledge you need for a better weekend right here on the grid. Frank Reich is the head coach. You beat Stanford to end that season to clinch that 10th win, the hottest team in the country. You can't keep them out, Joe.
So now Stanford, because they beat Boston College last week, okay.
Notre Dame's in the top 25 today. They're going to have 10 straight victories. There's no way they stay out. Now, are you telling me that they're going to get tripped up by NC State?
NC State's
Devin Leary still there? I don't even know.
NC State, Dave Torrance there.
Sports Grid's College Football Today.
Mike McDaniel got a personal victory.
Yeah, he get fired on the tarmac. Okay, I can go
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Well, this has been my take on the Dolphins. I think you'll agree. The more they lose, Tyreek Hill becomes the most important player in football. Because Tyreek Hill getting traded becomes likelier and likelier.
Yeah.
And Don, he's not going to get traded to the Cleveland Browns.
Correct.
This is a guy who's going to shift Super Bowl markets if he is dealt.
Pro Football Today, only on Sports Grid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. Sports Grid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on Sports Grid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on Sports Grid.
The energy is high on a Friday. You know this already, man. You take a look and you say, the Sports Grid Network, what do they offer me on a Football Friday? We offer you the early line, and we offer you some spread lines here, Joe. We love to talk about the spread lines because it opens up the opportunities to get in depth of what we're actually talking about throughout the show and how you can apply this craft. Now, in golf, as we love the Ryder Cup, Lee Trevino once said this, Joe. You love this quote, right? Two things that don't last long: dogs chasing cars and pros putting for pars. What he means by that is Don't always just chase the steam. Sometimes you just have to look at the public versus the books and make your own decision, Joe. How about it?
Yeah, Donnie, it's so true here. I mean, listen, last year, if we check in now with the public versus the books through 3 weeks of the regular season, well, last year, yeah, it wasn't very good for the betting public through the first 3 weeks. We're talking about when we're looking at betting teams that have at least 60% or more of the tickets, Donnie, before the game goes. It's a good chance that has a lot to do with the public backing them. Those tickets this year, 4-17 against the number, failing to cover those games by 5 points or more. It's the worst ATS mark for the betting public on favorites in the last 23 years. You know what was also bad? Last year, they went 8-18-1 against the number through the first 3 weeks. The only difference here being, Donnie, and we had 26 upsets in September last year, so it wasn't good for the public. But the minute we hit October through the rest of the regular season, favorites in the public won at an over 70% clip last year. Out of control. So what does that tell us, Donnie? Well, it's not how you start. It's how you finish when you're betting the NFL season. Remember that. It ain't over yet. A lot of football left to play.
Seems like it might be over for the Atlanta Falcons after their dreadful performance last week against the Carolina Panthers. A 30-0 defeat, but they're coming home. They're coming home. Tell the world they're coming home. They're actually an underdog against Washington. We're not actually sure who the quarterback is for Washington, Joe, but due to some spread lines here, does it even matter who the quarterback for Washington is, huh?
Amen, Donnie. I mean, the Falcons getting a lot of attention after being embarrassed by Carolina last week. And then we're hearing all sorts of shakeup there in the coaching room. There is the wide receiver coach gets fired. They put in a new passing game coordinator and so on and so forth. And we're only through 3 weeks of the regular season. So we watched Washington open up as a 2.5-point favorite. We have seen nothing but Atlanta money all week, dropping this number down to -1 now. And to me, forget about the side. I think the under is the way to look. Why? Because that offense is atrocious at the Falcons. They are the only team, Donnie, left in the National Football League that is 3-0 to the full game under, 3-0 to the first half under, and 3-0 to the second half under here. Hard to buy Atlanta. Too much finger pointing there. I'm looking to back our Washington in this one here.
Going deep into the weeds here, last week you saw an absolute blowout victory for the Seattle Seahawks going up against the New Orleans Saints. Look who's on deck, the Buffalo Bills, and over 2 touchdowns on this spread line, Joe. What gives here?
Donnie, it's week 4. We're still in September. And we already have a game in which one team is more than a 2-touchdown underdog on the card. I mean, usually we have to wait until at least October rolls around before we see this kind of crazy spread action here. But that's not the case in Buffalo. The Saints come into Orchard Park. And are we really sure the Bills are that good and the Saints are that bad right now after 3 weeks? Given the injuries to the Bills' defensive side of the ball. And, oh, yeah, by the way, Sean McDermott, 2-9 against the number as a double-digit favorite with the Bills since 2022. I've got my doubts the Bills care about winning this game by double digits. All the trends point to taking the points, Donnie, and that is exactly what I'm doing. I'll be grabbing them with the Saints this week.
By the way, real quick, if the producers can hear me in the background, can we get that game board back up for that game between the Buffalo Bills and the Saints? Because our smart projections, look at smart projections, Joe. Buffalo by 7. You're getting a free 8.5 points right there. Look at that. Oh, boy, we could be in for one this weekend in Orchard Park. But also, let's go down south to Tampa. Heat, humidity is going to creep in. It's been a house of horrors the past few years. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Philadelphia Eagles in Tampa. Let's take a look at this spread line between the Eagles and the Bucks, where the Eagles are the favorites this weekend, heading down, Joe.
Yeah, well, shocker, Eagles are a favorite and the hook is available. The problem is the matchup here, not great for Jalen Hurts and company here. Why? Well, Jalen Hurts isn't great against the blitz, and the Bucks are one of the most blitz-heavy teams in the NFL. In fact, Jalen Hurts, and you know this, has not fared well against Todd Bowles in his career, only averaging about 5.3 yards per pass play in games against his defenses. Oh, yeah, and the Bucks, they're getting back Chris Godwin, and Tristan Wirfs, their left tackle who led the NFL in pass blocking last season. We've seen this line open and remain at -3.5 for the Eagles as a road favorite. The problem is, well, why isn't that line moving since all the tickets and the money are on the Eagles here? To me, I think there is significant sharp money. Grabbing that hook while you can, which is what I'm suggesting. This line will drop to a field goal before kickoff.
What Joe's really trying to tell you, he loves the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend. Bet him with all your heart to easily cover that number. I'm not going to hear anything that he just said about that latest spread line. But how about this? Let's get to college football, Joe. USC versus Illinois. Woo-hoo! If you're paying attention to what happened last week and applying that same metric this week, watch out, people. Spread line, SC's a favorite, Joe. What gives here?
Yeah, and we saw the ultimate head fake here. This line opened up 6.5, Donnie. It was bet up to -8 earlier in the week for USC. Then, of course, the public came in and said, no way is Illinois, after getting blown out like that, no way should they be getting more than a touchdown at home. Come on, it's bounce back time, right? Well, that's exactly, I think, what the pros are hoping would happen. This line at 6.5 right now, to me, Donnie, before kickoff, will likely be closing over a touchdown because the fact remains Illinois was way overrated to start the season, and USC was way underrated to start the season. This is the best offense in the country, and you're going to see it on display again against Illinois on Saturday.
Headlines and the spreads combine into one, the information that you need to know. Team Joe up so he can knock it out of the ballpark. You know what else we're going to do? Talk about how Joe and I knocked it out of the ballpark last night in that Thursday night football game. Let's recap. Are the Seahawks for real, people? Come on back and find out. Frank Reich is the head coach. You beat Stanford to end that season to clinch that 10th win, the hottest team in the country. You can't keep them out, Joe.
So now Stanford, because they beat Boston College last week, okay.
Notre Dame's in the top 25 today. They're going to have 10 straight victories. There's no way they stay out. Now, are you telling me that they're going to get tripped up by NC State?
NC State's
Devin Leary still there? I don't even know.
NC State, Dave Torrance there.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Mike McDaniel got a personal victory.
Yeah, he get fired on the tarmac. Okay, I can go
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Well, this has been my take on the Dolphins. I think you'll agree. The more they lose, Tyreek Hill becomes the most important player in football. Because Tyreek Hill getting traded becomes likelier and likelier.
Yeah.
And Don, he's not going to get traded to the Cleveland Browns.
Correct.
This is a guy who's going to shift Super Bowl markets if he is dealt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Thursday Night Football, did you cash your tickets in? Well, if you watched the early line yesterday, you picked up a nice 2-0 start to your weekend here and absolutely loving the drama. And by the way, Seattle Seahawks were up big in this game. A nice little comeback for the Arizona Cardinals fell short. But if you're watching the game, spreads were covered by the Seahawks. The total itself, 43.5, just stays under that total. Sam Darnold, 18 of 26 for 242 and a touchdown. Kyler Murray, 27 of 41 for 2 touchdowns, but 2 costly interceptions. You just can't make mistakes and win big football games. The Seahawks go on the road and pick up the 3-point victory yesterday, Joe.
Yeah, it's the tale of just the final 6 minutes here of the Cardinals is when they finally woke up, and they almost did the unthinkable and pulled off the win here. But, where were they for 3.5 quarters, Donnie? They couldn't run the ball. You talked about the interceptions and the turnovers. They were fortunate enough that one of those turnovers was actually fumbled by Love, the safety, the guy who actually picked him off on a terrible throw here. It was Seattle ended up playing not to lose at the end, which is what opened the door for Arizona. And Arizona, once again, could not take advantage of the miscues by Seattle, much like Donnie. They couldn't take advantage of the miscues by the backups of the 49ers last week. And now here they sit 2-2 on the season.
Yeah, no fault but their own. I mean, that's the way you look at it. I'm just not happy with the offense now. And I understand, like, James Conner going down is a big injury. But come on, man. Somebody's got to step up and play that first fiddle. Can't be Kyler Murray leading your team with 41 rushing yards yesterday. And also, Marvin Harrison Jr., yes, he scored a touchdown. But, yes, he had a terrible drop. Kyler Murray put it right on the numbers in the first half. Ball bounces around and got intercepted. You can't have that here. And if you take a look at that Seattle defense under Mike McDonald, no stranger to the Doobie Brothers out here, they were fantastic yesterday. 6 sacks, 8 passes defended, 2 interceptions. Lean on your defense because it does travel. And by the way, Joe, the 12s with a huge home field advantage when they're home. But how about this Seattle team on the road, Joe? Incredible.
Yeah, under Coach McDonald, they have been an absolute powerhouse on the road. I think, like 9-1 now on the road under him straight up. I mean, really, the defense outside of that final 6 minutes, and give Harrison Jr. some credit there. That big touchdown catch went right over Witherspoon to get it, kind of got them right back into that game. But outside of that, if Kyler Murray is your leading rusher, there's a problem, Donnie. They could not run the ball, and it showed again last night.
Yeah, you know what? You take a look at this game, too, and it really looks at the Cardinals where you wanted to try to get back and say, you know what? Let's get equal footing here. Let's win a football game at home. Dropped one last week in the game we probably should have won and didn't do that. Now you take a look at the standings here, and just in the odds market, the 49ers are plus 110, the Rams plus 175. That didn't really change. But yesterday, Joe, we were talking about both the Seahawks and the Cardinals around that plus 700 price point, and we told you those numbers would be dramatically shifting today once we found out who the winner was. Key the Seahawks, plus 440. The Cardinals out a 14-1 price, dropping back now in a very competitive NFC West.
Very competitive. And again, we told you last night, that might have been the best opportunity to get Seattle at that kind of number here for a little while. But, and once again, what nobody's talking about, Donnie, is, Sam Darnold looking the part again with Clint Kubiak, new offensive coordinator there for Seattle. They're doing a lot of different things there. And you know what? He's a big reason as to why they are at that price right now.
No doubt about it. And by the way, taking a look at the schedule for Seattle, Joe, you hate to play on a Thursday on the road, but what's the benefit? After you play that game, you get a mini bye built in, which they're going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. We're going to have a tough game in the heat and humidity on a Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles. Then they go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which will be a tough one, home against the Texans, which can't get out of their way, and then hit the bye week. How are our feelings about Seattle? Coming into the season, I liked Seattle because I liked the move where they got Darnold and obviously traded away Geno Smith. But I'm starting to buy into this team more because that defense is really good. And if Darnold can be the Darnold of the regular season outside of the final game in the playoffs last year that we saw, why can't this team be a playoff team, Joe?
Well, again, what you're seeing is obviously Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are benefiting from a fresh look at the offense, right? The new OC, Clint Kubiak, doing a great job of utilizing what they have. And don't forget, Donnie, the Cardinals and Seattle were viewed as equals prior to the season here where, there's not a lot separating these two teams. You tell me, these at least look like two totally different teams to me last night at this point in the season.
Absolutely it does. And as we transition over to some Sunday action here, maybe none bigger than the return of Micah Parsons as he goes home to Dallas. And what did Jerry Jones say? It's a little bit different than when Emmett came to town. We're not going to have any video highlights for the guy right here. Oh, you want to motivate Micah Parsons. Good strategy, Jerry. We'll talk about that and much more right here on the Early Line.
Aaron Rodgers, 2-year stint with the Jets that he'll never want to remember when he goes into the Hall of Fame. He'll just say, please don't mention that. Now he's with Pittsburgh, and he had his best game since Green Bay. Threw 5 touchdowns. Is it 5, right? Am I right about that, Sam? I don't want to screw this up, too. 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, I screwed up again. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers will finish the season as a QB1 in a 12-team league, top 12 fantasy quarterback. Buy or sell.
You know, the cop out here is he stays healthy, yes, right? He'll do it. They're not asking a lot, top 12. Purdy's already not going to be top 12, right? He's already going to miss this week, probably another week, maybe as much as 5, they've said. So you knock him out there. There'll be other quarterbacks that get hurt, so you knock them out. I don't think he'd ever get top 5, top 6, top 8. But the 9 to 12, I hate to say it, he wasn't bad last year with the Jets, right? They didn't win games, but he wasn't bad. He had it when he played. He was a good, solid quarterback. You know, he can still sling it. He still can. I'm the first to admit those 4 touchdowns. It wasn't like he had a monster game. A couple of his interceptions were dropped. You know, that should have been picked off there. It seems like he did complete work for touchdowns. A couple of breakdowns by the Jets as well. So I don't see him really as going to win a league for you. But I'm going to buy this. If he stays healthy, hell, just give me 15 games. And I think he can be top 12. So I'll buy this.
I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I mean, games against the Browns and games against the Ravens. And look, I don't know if the Jets defense is as bad as they've showed. If it is, then this may be his best game of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I think he's on the outside of this looking in.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Headlines, spread lines, we give it to you all right here on the early line. It's what we do on a Football Friday. Our goal is to get you ready for this weekend's action. And sometimes in the NFL, they just lay it out for you, Joe, on a platter. And they say, Sunday Night Football. I don't know if we're going to get a really good football team in the Dallas Cowboys, but we will be watching. Why? Because Micah Parsons was traded from the Green Bay Packers just before the start of the season. Oh, no, Dallas, what are you doing here? Jerry told you that it was going to be a much better team that you had. Jerry Jones was wrong. Dallas looks terrible right now. Let's set this game up. Dallas at home as 7-point underdogs at a majority of outlets here. Some still showing the 6.5. A total of 47.5. You're not going to have CeeDee Lamb this weekend. So it's George Pickens and Dak Prescott. Oh, how'd they fare last week against the Bears? Not good at all. The Green Bay Packers, fresh off a loss, will be motivated, and nobody will be more motivated than their all-world, all-pro defensive end / outside linebacking pass rusher in Micah Parsons. What happens on Sunday night, Joe Ranieri?
Yeah, well, what happens is, guess where the spotlight is going to be? It's going to be in Big D on Dallas. And nobody, and I mean nobody, has been better at making sure, for good or bad, Donnie, doesn't make a difference, as long as they're in the spotlight, and they are in the spotlight, Dallas here, with Parsons playing for the other side. Now, listen, I still think, Donnie, I still think the jury is out on whether or not in a couple of years we're going to look back and say, you know what, this might have been the worst situation and trade that Jerry's ever, not pulled off. But I still think there's time on that. In the meantime, this is one of those things. Would it shock me if the Packers go in there and blow out the Cowboys? No. But what else wouldn't shock me? The Cowboys making this a very competitive game up against Micah Parsons as well. So I just think the overreaction here with Packers are going to bounce back. They're going to run them over. This is where it gets a little tricky, Donnie, this time of the year. It's not like the Cowboys are going to roll over because Mike is in town.
Exactly. Come on now, Jordan Love. What are you going to be able to step up? But also understand this. Like, if we go through the evolution of the offseason for Dallas, it was always assumed that Micah and Dallas have a deal worked out. Just something with the language. They're angry at each other. They'll get this worked out. And the reason I bring that up is, Joe, because I do think the season trajectory could have been different if you had made this trade, let's just say before the draft, and you picked up a couple new players, or if you made it just after the draft and right around free agency, say, okay, like we can answer these questions now in May. We're going to go to training camp. Everything's going to be fine. June, July, August. Micah Parsons has been gone for a long time. This is the team we're taking out to battle. But then you trade Micah Parsons like a week before the season, answer these questions. Jerry loves the move. The Dallas fans can't stand the move. And here we are with the Dallas Cowboys season already in peril after getting hammered last week and getting injured with CeeDee Lamb. So this game lines up to me, and I say, all right, maybe is it a last stand? Is Jerry telling these guys this week, don't you dare embarrass me? And Micah Parsons is definitely going to want to get a sack this weekend. But also, players have to score, Joe. The touchdown market that we're going to take a look at, Josh Jacobs, minus 250 to get into the end zone. Everybody else after him is at a plus money. You know my theory on touchdown props. You show me a minus 250, that tells me the books don't you want you to bet them. First half touchdown, Josh Jacobs for me on Sunday Night Football.
Well, and Pickens has got to get one, right? I mean, he's going to get all of those targets that would have went to CeeDee Lamb. So you got to think that Pickens has got to be a guy that's got to get involved here in a big, big way. And I think it's going to have to be the passing games. But also, I guess, Jalen Williams would not be a shocker either because they can't be one-dimensional, Dallas, and be a sitting duck in this spot.
No, certainly can't do that. And by the way, just bringing up some things, take a look at this tweet that we have here from Sleeper Packers. The Green Bay Packers have never lost when playing in the Cowboys AT&T Stadium. The Packers have a record of 6-0 when playing in that stadium, including the Super Bowl where they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. How about that? Might as well make it a home game for the Packers, Joe.
Oh, they'll be their share of Packer fans, trust me, in that building there, Donnie, no doubt. But again, Jerry's good at making sure all eyeballs are on the Dallas Cowboys. And guess what? They will be all over the Dallas Cowboys in this game as well.
Now, Dak hurt me last week, Joe. He really did. I needed 2 touchdown passes. He got one in the first half, which went to George Pickens, and nothing at all from the Dallas Cowboys in the second half. Dak Prescott's passing prop total is a 237.5, and to throw 2 touchdowns in this game, a plus 116 price. It was like a minus 140 to minus 150 last week to where you were shopping at. But also understand this. You know that with the trade of Micah Parsons, what was Jerry Jones telling us both behind the scenes and in front of the camera? I trust Dak Prescott, and we're going to be a better football team with more money under the cap. Dak didn't look so good last week, and now he doesn't have CeeDee Lamb. Expectations for Dak Prescott for you, Joe, on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, well, Dak Prescott's going to have to throw the ball. I think they also, it would benefit them to try to play keep away as best as possible here. So I'm expecting maybe a little slower tempo, Donnie. Dak taking what the defense will give him, get the ball out of his hands quickly, and let's see, we're going to, get it to your playmakers and let them make a play. Even without CeeDee Lamb, the offense was never a problem for us, Donnie, going into the season. We knew Dallas was going to be able to score. The question was, were they going to be able to stop anybody? And, oh, yeah, by the way, a couple of starting offensive linemen down for the Packers already. So let's see if this is the week the Cowboys defense can finally make it interesting.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on, too. Tom's one of the better offensive linemen in the league. He's been trying to work his way back, but that's a big deal because even though we don't love the Dallas Cowboys defense here, you still can be able to penetrate through that offensive line and also understand this. It's not the same defense that they, talking about Green Bay, saw last week going up against the Browns, but it is a home game and a team in a must-win situation. Let's flip it over to the wide receiver position, Joe, because you're right. George Pickens now takes center stage. He's performed very well in Pittsburgh, but also at the same time, when things aren't going his way, he checks out. But he leads the game right now in the odds market at 61.5 receiving yards. The next closest is Jake Ferguson, a teammate of 53.5. So the expectations are Dallas is still going to throw the football and a lot more targets going around since CeeDee Lamb won't play in this game. How do we feel about guys like George Pickens, touchdown, receiving prop, receptions? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, we talked about the anytime TD touchdown. I got no problem with that. But again, the good thing about him or playing a prop like over his yardage situation or even attempts, right, or receptions, he's got to be a target because he is a guy in 2 plays that can take you down the field and score. They need that big threat, that big hitting weapon that can take it to the house. That's who he is. So if I'm Dak in that offense, I'm trying to put him in a spot to make a play, let him use his athletic ability. I think over 61.5, not a bad look there here in this one.
Yeah, interested to see how it does play out, but also the one thing that we are looking forward to is Micah Parsons is coming home to Dallas here. Now, let me ask you this, because as an ownership group, right, things got a little bit hairy down the stretch, and maybe some things were said, but, Micah Parsons was very good for the Dallas Cowboys, enjoyed his time, and did want to be a Dallas Cowboy until things got squirrely with the contract issues. He gets traded to Green Bay, now coming back. They say, the Dallas Cowboys show, they are not going to play a video montage welcoming Micah Parsons back. Does that add more fuel to the fire? And if you were Jerry Jones, would you say, you know what? Let's honor the guy. It's a minute video here. We'll give him a standing ovation, and we can finally all move forward. Because as you saw with Luka Doncic returning back, things sometimes don't work out well because your fans were upset about this.
Yeah, well, I know, especially given the fact of all those Super Bowl championships that Micah helped them win there. I mean, honestly, it just legendary. And oh, stop, please. There is nothing to montage about him except for, you know what? Put a montage of all the postseason games he played in for the Cowboys, and he went MIA. That'd be great. Or every game he missed there in his please stop it. Acting like this guy is Emmitt Smith or Charles Haley. Like, no, he's not. So there'll be a time down the road to do that, Donnie. This ain't the time.
Trying to check around right now to some other outlets here to take a look at some of those sack props. Last week, Micah Parsons was over a $220 price to get a sack. He didn't, but I had Rashawn Gary to get a sack. He actually got 2 sacks. So I'm going to ask you this question, Joe. Are we going to get a sack out of Parsons, huh? Sack this weekend?
Oh,
huh?
You know it. They're bringing the house, and he's going to be a big part of it.
They're bringing the house. We're bringing in Tom Vecchio next. Let's get some best bets on the board for a Football Friday.
Aaron Rodgers, 2-year stint with the Jets that he'll never want to remember when he goes into the Hall of Fame. He'll just say, please don't mention that. Now he's with Pittsburgh, and he had his best game since Green Bay. Threw 5 touchdowns. Is it 5, right? Am I right about that, Sam? I don't want to screw this up, too. 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, I screwed up again. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers will finish the season as a QB1 in a 12-team league, top 12 fantasy quarterback. Buy or sell.
The cop out here is he stays healthy at Jets, right? He'll do it. They're not asking a lot. Top 12. Purdy's already not going to be top 12, right? He's already going to miss this week, probably another week, maybe as much as 5. They've said. So you knock him out there. There'll be other quarterbacks that get hurt, so you knock them out. I don't think he'd ever get top 5, top 6, top 8. But the 9 to 12, I hate to say it, he wasn't bad last year with the Jets. Right? They didn't win games, but he wasn't bad. He had it when he played. He was a good, solid quarterback. He can still swing it. He still can. I'm the first to admit those 4 touchdowns. It wasn't like he had a monster game. A couple of his interceptions were dropped. That should have been picked off there. It seems like he did complete work for touchdowns. A couple of breakdowns by the Jets as well. So I don't see him really as going to win a league for you. But I'm going to buy this if he stays healthy. Hell, just give me 15 games, and I think he can be top 12. So I'll buy this.
I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I mean, games against the Browns and games against the Ravens. And look, I don't know if the Jets defense is as bad as they've showed. If it is, then this may be his best game of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I think he's on the outside of this looking in.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Football Friday on the early line right here on the SportsGrid Network. And yes, I guess you could say it's a golfing Friday as well, as we are underway at the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black, just outside the confines of New York City. We'll keep you updated when we get some highlights there a little bit later in the show. But it's time to talk some football and better your knowledge. Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri has welcomed in Tom Vecchio, the jack of all trades here at the SportsGrid Network. Nice night last night on a Thursday night football game. But our job here, Tom, to preview what's going to happen this weekend. How we feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Yesterday's game was, pretty good, all things considered. It started off super slow, but we got some points when it's all said and done. Trey Benson came through on the under. I'm ready to roll for the weekend.
Blowout alert, Tom. Orchard Park, New York. You saw by the way, the New Orleans Saints. Can you have a worse schedule? You start out at home and say, okay, then we're going to fly to Pacific Northwest, get absolutely hammered, fly back to New Orleans, then fly back up to Buffalo and be 15.5-point underdogs with a total of 48.5, which means, Tom, maybe we don't have to throw the football all that much in the second half, which could play into a key ingredient that you're looking at wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills, huh?
Yeah, 15 points, 16 points, whatever it's going to end up closing out for the Bills. This is a massive line when it comes to the NFL. And, ultimately, I'm turning to Keon Coleman. I think he's a great talent, but I like him under 3.5 receptions. And maybe it's a game environment. Maybe it's just things overall with Buffalo. But when you look to Buffalo and their target share this year, Keon Coleman leads the team, but he's only at 18%. Dalton Kincaid is at 16. Khalil Shakir is at 15. Josh Palmer's at 13. James Cook is at 9. Even Dawson Knox at 7. There's no one dominant option, combined with the fact that they are double touchdown favorites. Not just double digits, but multiple touchdown favorites.
Yeah.
We have 6 different guys with 3-4 catches. So the fact that we're not sure if he's going to get there based on A, his usage, or B, the game environment, it's all about the under.
Well, it's interesting because there were some head-scratching results a week ago, Tom, and now you're going, all right, so what does that mean this week? And, all right, Carolina, you shut out Atlanta last week. Now you got to take on the Patriots, who doesn't feel like they can stop anybody in the passing game. But what about the running game here?
Yeah, the Pats defense has been surprisingly good, at least from a run perspective, like you said. And, you look to what they did in week 1 against Genty. They held them to only 38 yards. They held Warren last week to 47. In week 2 against the Dolphins, they held Achane to only 30 yards. Their run defense has been super solid when it's all said and done. So Chuba Hubbard on the side for Carolina, he's a middle-of-the-road running back. Let's just call it what it is. He's not some elite running back that's going to be breaking off these big plays. His long runs this season are 9, 14, and 8 in the 3 games. He's averaging under 4 yards per carry in 2 of those games. I like him under 55.5 for Sunday's game. He needs to have 17 carries or 20 carries in order for me to feel comfortable that he's going to push over to 55 and get to 60, which is the spot that I would want to see if I were taking the over. There's no way I can reasonably bet into the over on a player like Chuba Hubbard. So it's about under 55.5. He just doesn't get there this week.
How about Chargers and the Giants? First start for Jackson Dart. They're getting around 6.5 points, depending where you're shopping. And the total is at 43.5, which means the Chargers. They love to crank up the running game. They want to choke out the New York Giants in the second half. Does that play into something that you like in this game, Tom?
It has to, and what a stretch of games that Jackson Dart is going to be facing, not just this week, but over the coming weeks. I think he has to face the Eagles twice in the next 5 or 6 weeks, whatever it might be, but trial by fire, I guess, for him. When it comes to Chargers, we know that Najee Harris is now done for the season, so, Maureen Hampton, their first-round pick, it's time for him to shine ultimately. And last week, after Najee Harris got hurt in that game, of the running back touches for the Chargers, Amari Hampton saw all of them. Now, we did see Darius Davis with a rushing attempt at one point, but I think Amari Hampton over 16.5 rushing attempts for this week. I don't want to look just at last week, but if we look back to week 1, I think it's important to note that Hampton got 16 carries as a rookie in his rookie debut in a road game, in an international road game. So Harbaugh is at least willing to trust him in a very difficult environment. So I think moving forward, this prop is only going to move up, and up. And I'm going to buy low at 16.5.
Let me ask you this, Tom, because that's an interesting point. Obviously, week 3, the usage rate went through the roof, right? 19 runs there. But he also caught 6 passes, right, from Justin Herbert. So should we be looking at that as well? Maybe one of the props is his passing and rushing, maybe?
Yeah, I would actually prefer rushing, receiving yards combined before I would prefer just receptions. And, frankly, with the Giants, the second most rushing yards allowed per game this season. This is the matchup, right? You want to take the wind out of the Giants' sails with their rookie quarterback making his debut. Don't let him touch the ball. Just dominate the time of possession, run the ball. They're terrible on defense. Spread it around. Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, get everyone to touch the ball and just keep the ball out of Jackson Dart's hands. Not saying he's some massive threat that's going to run up the score, but in order to just mitigate any of that, just give it to Hampton, let him run the ball.
Let me ask you a question about this, because the national game on Sunday, we probably expect could be 2 3-0 teams coming in. 2 1-2 teams, Tom.
Yeah.
It's the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. The total's 48.5 and a favorite for Baltimore. How do you see this game playing out on Sunday? It's really intriguing.
I think the Ravens are the better team. And I want to say, I don't know if it's a cop-out, but I want to say the Ravens win, but they don't cover. And you're like, oh, what kind of circumstance is that? But a 24-23 game, 28-27, that's really where we should be. I think 24-23 is right on, because it puts us right at the over-under number. We're going to be right there in terms of predictable score. Maybe it's a missed extra point to get us to 23, or just a field goal or a late field goal that one team ends up winning from 21, getting up to 24. But I would be willing to take the under, especially if there's early scoring. So if there's early scoring, a live under. If the live over jumps up to 52, I want to take the under at that point. These teams don't want to get out and score. The Ravens can't stop anyone at this point on defense. They're missing some key pieces. To turn this into a shootout, I think is a wrong option for both teams.
I'll tell you what's not a wrong option. Sunday morning here, right here on the Sports Grid Network, it's going to be Joe Lisi and Tom Vecchio live from studio, an extra extended hour. Because why? Minnesota is taking on Pittsburgh. Any quick previews for Carson Wentz, Aaron Rodgers, Tom?
DK Metcalf under 50.5 yards.
Ooh. There you go. Overseas action at this point. Tom's going to be in the pilot's chair. Joe Lisi is going to be in that, co-pilot's chair. Make sure you join us here this weekend, because we got college football today on Saturday. Tom Vecchio and the boys take over on Sunday for an action-packed, action-filled weekend right here on the Sports Grid Network. Tom, thanks for waking up, rising, and grinding with us right here on the early line on a Football Friday. We loved it. Joe Ranieri and Donnie Rightside. We'll be right back after this break.
For a closer, 10? That's you're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness.
He's mentally broken too. It's to the point where Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in,
right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's guys, he's done.
In-game live, only on Sports Grid.
To put up a shut-up time for some of these teams that have scheduled nothing but cupcakes, Donnie, to start the season without truly being tested. Are you, right, Miami, they've played ranked teams over and over and over and just beat Florida as well. So, some of these teams like Penn State, what are we going to get from them?
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Major League Baseball has decided it is time to put balls and strikes not just in the hands of the umpires, but also the robot umpires, as they say. The ABS system is now officially in place starting next season. Now, keep in mind, they're not just throwing this out there. They have used this at the Arizona Fall League, and they've also used it at different levels of the minor leagues as well.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquil Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals 3-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump. You can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Breanna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
Football, more football here. But let's give a quick update here for the Ryder Cup, Joe. I know you have an eye on it right now. Any birdies? What's going on in the first 2 groups? Do we know?
Well, 3 groups now off and running here, Donnie. And DeChambeau and Justin Thomas were off the front here. And They are one up still here now through 3. And guess who just made a birdie putt on the second to get it back to all square? Scotty Scheffler and Russell Henley. And now Morikawa and Harris English taking on Rory and Tommy Fleetwood. Looks like they just halved the first hole. They're on their way to the second tee box.
USA, USA. Any big things happen, we'll keep you updated because that's what we do on the Sports Grid Network, live and in motion here. That's how we get down. And also, which includes a preview for more of those Sunday NFL games, which we just talked with Tom Vecchio. Jackson Dart's going to get his first career start for the New York Giants. It's a new era for the Giants, and maybe it's still going to be in those losing ways. Can't you get 4 wins this year to cash in a ticket for your boy DRS? We'll get to that down the line, but they're going to take on Justin Herbert and the Chargers 6 to 6.5, depending on where you're shopping at. How do we think Jackson Dart's going to do in his NFL debut?
Well, my plan of attack in this game is, and I think, listen, if you're the Giants, any sort of boost right now is a good thing because offensively, it's been awful. And it's not that the Giants defense, I think, has been terrible, Donnie. It's just that I think they have been put in terrible positions because of the lack of an offense that they have seen. Take out the Cowboys game. Everyone is going to throw 500 yards against that Dallas Cowboys defense. But the first game and the third game for the Giants, it's just not good. The defense was on the field entirely too long. I think the boost for him in this game comes in the first half, Donnie, with the Giants, right? Because let's face it, Harbaugh and company, they haven't seen him, but then at the half, they're going to have to make some adjustments with them. So I think maybe the element of surprise and the adrenaline alone, short week for the Chargers, might make the Giants a pretty good bet getting 3.5 points in that first half.
It's going to be interesting to watch it play out because you don't know how they're going to use Jackson Dart here. But if I give you one bet, Joe, yes or no, over or under 189.5 passing yards for Jackson Dart in his debut this week, where are you going?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I think Neighbors has you got to have some offense to beat the Chargers, right? It's not, you're not going to win a 17-14 game. So the offense, they're going to have to push the ball down the field. I think his rushing prop is probably not bad also there, especially early in this game.
How about this one? Overseas we go. Carson Wentz, Aaron Rodgers, who had that on your bingo card about a year ago, going to tee it up overseas in this game. By the way, Minnesota is a favorite, -2.5 over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a total of 40.5. Minnesota looked spectacular last week, I guess, against a really bad Cincinnati Bengals team. Pittsburgh getting it together now. What are we looking at for this game, Joe? Who's the better quarterback here?
Yeah, I hate these overseas games, Donnie. Early starts, right? I mean, just not good. But we have seen a lot of fluctuation in this, right? We saw this line open up 2.5. It was bet down to 1, the Pittsburgh money early in the week. And then, of course, now we're back up to 2.5. I do not think we're going to get this game at a field goal. So, I just do not trust that offensive line protecting Aaron Rodgers against the defense of Minnesota. I don't trust Carson Wentz, but I do trust the coaching staff there and O'Donnell not to ask him to do too much. So I think it's advantage Minnesota. I think they're right to be the favorite. Pittsburgh, lucky to have been able to win that game in New England. I would take the shot with Minnesota in this one.
Couple banged up football teams come into play here between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Eagles opened up as a 3-point favorite. That now sits as a 3.5-point favorite towards the Eagles in a total of 44.5. Hot, muggy, humid. That's what it's going to be on Sunday. Baker Mayfield battling a little bit of a bicep injury. Won't have Mike Evans, but possibly getting back Chris Godwin. What plays out between Philadelphia and Tampa Bay, Joe?
Not just Chris Godwin. We talked about this on our spread lines. Also, Tristan Wirfs, the number one protector here, one of the best offensive linemen in the game. He looks to make his debut in this one. And we had mentioned it. This is all about Todd Bowles and his defense versus Jalen Hurts and the offense. And Todd Bowles has won this throughout Jalen Hurts' career. And this is tough. I don't think the hook is going to be available on Sunday. So if you like Tampa, now's the time to grab it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to play this game because the props could be immaculate in this game, or you can go the wrong way. Hey, which Philadelphia Eagles offense shows up, the first half against the Rams or the second half against the Rams? And you're right. Heat and humidity in Tampa has affected the Philadelphia Eagles. They actually flew down early this year to try to change that and get a quick practice in. More football, hour number 2. Let's go, people.